It's exactly the question. Someone's about carry. He doesn't have water to be table. It's carry kishma ve'ina mevarech. Lo lefanei v'lo lacharei. So he has to say Krishma. He still is Chaim in mitzvahs. We say Krishma is Menatera or whatever. So what does he do? He doesn't say the blessings before and after. He just says Krishma. He eats but he thinks of it in his heart and he doesn't say it in his lips. Divra Meir. So how do we say? This is like a contradiction. We said Rabbi Yehuda said that Baba Kari is butter, and here we see that he completely says you don't need to, you don't have any problem saying all the brachas. So now Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak goes again. We said we're going to go into a deep dive. Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak goes to the next level. He says.
Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. No. Well, no, what?
It's audiovisual. Okay. Very good.
Hook them up.
All right.
Yeshakaya, thank you.
Sorry about that. The doctor's going to give you a shot. Don't worry.
All right, supposedly we're relying on Dr. Stein to
trying to give you.
No, we're getting it. Don't worry about it.
Don't worry, or I guess you can see everyone.
Nachman Yitzchak goes and he just now explains how is it that Rabbi Yehuda says that Benkach Moshe. So how do we say that he has no issue with saying all these brachas while carrying? So Nachman Yitzchak says, "Asan Rabbi Yehuda ki hilchos derech." Unbelievable. He says he takes all these brachas and he makes it like it's the laws of derech eretz. Because the laws of derech eretz, what is the laws of derech eretz? So in general, the laws of derech eretz is how a Talmid Chacham is supposed to carry himself. So he's supposed to have his shirt should not be dirty. He should carry himself with respect. He should look sharp. He should not go in a place or a situation that people could assume that if he goes through this alley, he came from a certain place. There's different things. The Tanya that we learned in the Brayso, you should teach your children and grandchildren. What does it say? It says after that. The day that you stood in front of Hashem, your God, in Chayrev and the Har Sinai. This is Malahala Be'ema V'yeh. Just like then, you were. It says over here, the translation, dread and awe, with trembling and fear. So Afkan Be'ema V'yeh. Also here, you should be in that state. What is that state? It means when it came to Har Sinai, it took the Jews 3 days to get themselves ready. So they shouldn't be tummy from this, and they shouldn't be tummy from that, from Bakir. So the same thing here. Mikan Amru, from here we learn. Azovim, sorry, needless. Mutam liquid return Tovim. Lishnas Bemisha Gar Rachas Agalas. Avabakir and Asurim. They made a difference. The Zavim Etzaroim and so they're allowed to read in the Torah, and they're allowed to study the Mishnah, the Gemara, Halachas Nagalas, but someone who's a Valkyrie is not allowed because that's the way it was in Har Sinai. So now we're going further down. So the review that says this is what it means that it's not going to be a problem. A Balkari is, according to Rabbi Yossi, a Balkari is allowed to study the Mishnahs that he knows by heart, that he's familiar with. It's not like a extra study. So he's not going to, as long as he doesn't start explaining the reasonings and the questions behind it. So apparently, from what Rabbi Yossi is saying, the problem about Keri is he's allowed to say with his lips, but he's not really allowed to get into thinking. That's what it seems Rabbi Yossi is saying, which is another level going down. So we said, is he allowed to speak? Is he allowed to think? Now he's saying he's allowed to speak, but only things that he would not think. So you're allowed to say things that you know by heart, because you don't have to think of them. But once you start thinking of them, then you have a problem because it's not respected. He goes to another opinion. Matziyahu es a Mishnah ve'ena matziyas Gemara. You're allowed to expand on the Mishnah, but not on the Gemara. The Mishnah obviously is less machlokes, less pilpul and sugya. Rab Nassan ben Avishalom Omer af matziyas Gemara v'uvat shelo yeh ma'askar shabbos. So Rab Nassan ben Avishalom says you could study and elaborate on the Gemara as long as you don't do the askaris. Askaris means you don't mention the psukim from the Navi, the Torah, so you don't mention them, and then you could mention Hashem's name as well in them. So therefore, as long as you don't mention Hashem's name, then it's okay. Rabbi Yochanan, look how down this goes. This keeps on going. Rabbi Yochanan Sandler, Talmida Rabbi Akiva, Mishum Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yochanan, who was the shoemaker, and it's amazing how in the Gemara they always mention his trade because to show that Torah she'eini ma'malacha, that there were so many of them who studied, but yet they earned their living from manual labor. What?
I don't think that's what the term malacha means.
Well, this is one aspect of it.
I like what he said.
No, but it's
Accountants don't count.
No, malacha. No, you're right.
There's no malacha. It's
No. He's right. I didn't mean manual. I said that the fact was because
I like the manual.
No, but there's Rabbi Yochanan Sadler, there's Nafcha, there's one who was a
water carrier, there's a wood chopper.
Malacha means anywhere. Of course.
Malacha means action. You just learn. You don't translate into mitzvahs to people.
Okay. Very good.
They won't laugh.
So Rabbi Akiva Omer.
Let's switch it.
So Rabbi Akiva has another level. He says.
No, it's okay. I like what he said too.
Rabbi Akiva
Both
Omer.
right.
No, it's good. Rabbi Akiva Omer lo yikanes lemidrash kolika. He shouldn't go into the base medrash. So he is even saying another level. So we're not talking about if you could speak or if you cannot speak. He's saying, where could you be? So according to Rakiva, don't go into the base medrash. Do whatever you have to do at home or wherever, and you work, whatever. Don't go into the base medrash, which is another level. And now we have Rabbi Yehuda. Rabbi Yehuda says, Shoynehu b'hilchos derech. Rabbi Yehuda says he's allowed to read and study the laws of the Eretz. So here we see that all things that are considered the laws of the Eretz, Rabbi Yehuda has no problem with. And since we said before that Rav Nachman Bar Yitzchak made the brachas before Krishma and after Krishma and the bracha before eating, like laws of the Eretz, so that's why Rabbi Yehuda allows it. Okay. So now we go further. Rabbi Yehuda says apparently he had a situation and he was going by the river. So apparently he was in the process of stopping to study. I guess when they were walking, they were studying. So the Talmidim, they took the opportunity and they knew his halacha, what he said. He said, give us one chapter of the laws of the Eretz, because we know that you can't tell us words of Torah, but give us words of the Eretz. So Rabbeinu, our master, but he didn't listen to them. Is Yarad v'Toval v'Shan Alehem. He first went into the river that was right there, and then he taught them. Amuloi, he told him, isn't this how you taught us, and master? So the person is allowed to study the laws of their hearts. Even though according to halacha, I believe that this is the halacha, that anybody is allowed to go ahead, even in your Bakari, to do all these things that are hers. On myself, I am more strict. So kind of gives you everything the Gemara is doing over here has to do with practical life. That even though you have the halacha and you have everything the way it is, but when it comes to yourself, you should always try to do lifnim mishur sadin, or try to see how you can go ahead and take it to a higher level. So since we're talking about the words of Torah and learning the Gemara, learning Mishnah, while you're Balkari, we have another opinion. Tanya learned in the Brachos Daf. The words of Torah do not receive Tumah. Nothing. What does that mean? That you don't even have to go to the mikvah. If you're going to study Torah, you're Balkari, not Balkari, it doesn't make a difference because the words of Torah never, ever, ever receive Tumah. Ma'aseh b'talmidecha. It was a certain student who had, it was in a position of Balkari. Shahaya megamgem lamala me'avidah v'mesera. It's kind of, it says here he was stammering. Megamgem means like stuttering. Apparently, because he just became a Balkari, he wanted to stop. He was studying the words in front of Rabbi Yehuda, and because he became a Balkari, he wanted to stop speaking. Amar Lei, Rabbi Yehuda tells him, it's a beautiful word. Sach picha v'yirud v'echa. Open your mouth, and your words will light up and shine. Why? כן. נכון. He wasn't sure what he should do, so he was stuttering. Why? The words of Torah do not receive Tumah. Why? How do we know that? Because it doesn't say Haloi koi dvarai ke'esh ne'um. My words are like fire. So says Hashem.
So this is in support of being able to make brachos or not?
That's in support of, well, there was a whole argument about it. Could you go into the Beis Medrash? Could you learn the Mishnah? Could you learn the Gemara? Could you think about it? Could you this? Rabbi Yehuda completely debunks all that. And he says, Ma Eisha no mekabel tuma, of the return mekabel tuma. And I would say, I'm not sure if this is only on Balkari or all Tmeim, if they could study Torah. There's no issue of studying Torah.
Well, I think Balkari is one of the highest levels.
What's that?
I think Balkari is one of the highest levels of Torah.
No, for sure. It's Mason.
No, Tumas Mason, that's it. And after that, the Balkari.
No.
What comes in between?
All the other tunas. Balkari is down on the bottom.
I don't think so.
Yeah, that's why before Takanas Ezra, the Balkari wasn't coming. It wasn't an issue of the whole thing was Tumas Ezra. Exeris Ezra.
Balkari, has Tumas Medras, which only doesn't apply to some of us if it's a Shani or Shluchim.
Amar, as far as learning Torah and Amar, Matthias a Mishnah and Matthias a Gemara. He could, Matziyim almost means to suggest.
Elaborate.
Right. So you can go ahead and expand on the Mishnah, not the Gemara. This brisa that says that you could do it helps Rabbi Loi. Why? The Amar Rabbi Loi, Amar Rabbi Acha bar Yaakov Mishum Rabbeinu. And here he says that Rabbeinu is Rav. Because if you look at it, he's like, who's Rabbeinu? But apparently Rabbeinu is Rav. Whenever it says in the Gemara, just Rabbeinu plain is Rav. And I guess also Rav Bar Yaakov was in his time, and Matthias Mishnah and Gemara. That you halacha Matthias Mishnah and Gemara. So Rav says that you could study the Mishnah, but you can't study the Gemara. Gemara says maybe it's Ketanai, maybe the issue is a machlokes of Tanaim, and now we're going to see how the Gemara is going to attempt to make this a machlokes of Tanaim. Matthias Mishnah and Matthias Gemara. Divrei Meir. So according to Meir, you could study Mishnah, but you can't study the Gemara. So what's the obvious question in this statement? Huh? Doctor?
Let me get it right.
The Meir says you could learn the Mishnah, you can't learn the Gemara. What's the obvious question? Somebody? Anybody? Help me out. The Meir was in the time of the Mishnah or the time of the Gemara? No? How's the Meir say that you can't learn Gemara if he didn't?
That's the funny thing. This is the Gemara that's talking about learning.
They know it's just a Gemara. So apparently, I looked at before, and I'm sure Rabbi Smith has the answer. Please, maybe he's gonna chime in. See if Rabbi Smith is giving you the answer. I think that in the Mishnah there was different levels of studying. There were levels of studying the Mishnah, and what they called the Gemara was like heavy pilpul, I guess. Because her Meir is from the time of the Mishnah. You can't say you can't learn Gemara. The Gemara didn't show up in her Meir's time. Okay.
I agree, Reb Chaim. It's good. I agree.
He says that you're not allowed to do Mishnah and Gemara. And according to some opinion, he says Zev is a mutar. So definitely, Rabbi Yehuda ben Gamliel has either very extreme, either it's both allowed or both permitted. Manda Omar Zevazel, so according to the opinions who said that Rabbi Yehuda said that they're both forbidden, he would be the opinion of Rabbi Yechon Sandler. What did Rabbi Yechon Sandler say? Lo yikanis lamidrash kol ikar. He says you're not allowed to even go into the base medrash. Manda Omar Zevazel mutar, according to the opinions that Rabbi Yehuda ben Gamliel says that you're allowed to learn Mishnah and Gemara. That would be according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira, because Rabbi Yehuda ben Meseira says, "Ein divrei Torah mekablim tuma." So you're always allowed to study Torah regardless. Oh,
I agree. There's another version also. For some reason, they can't hear.
What? What?
Says I agree.
Okay.
There's another version also.
Right. So that right. Okay.
Name's here on my Zoom. I don't know.
Oh, he says he can't hear.
No, we can't hear.
No, we can't hear him.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we have to.
Okay. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. This is a beautiful. You see, again, the Gemara is always trying to give you, besides giving you the Torah and the halacha and the understanding, it also gives you the way of how to behave and how to speak. So look how beautiful Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak says. Amar Rav Nachman bar Yitzchak. Nohug alma b'hanei tlat savei. The world, the general population, they go according to these three savei, means grandparents, elders, for the respect to the elders. Such a nice, sweet language. He says like this: what are the three things that everybody goes according to? So the first one is Karabi Loi Bereishis Agez. According to Rabbi Loi, we follow his opinion, Bereishis Agez. Karabi Yoshia Bechilayim. Karabi Lebesei B'divrei Torah. The Gemara now is going to explain what are these three things. Karabi Loi Bereishis Agez. Tanya Rabbi Loi Bereishis Agez and Noig Ela Ba'aretz. So obviously the population accepted that in Bavel. They obviously Rashis, I guess, the first shearing of the sheep. So he said that it doesn't apply outside of Eretz Yisrael. So they accepted it. The second ruling is Rabbi Yoshe V'Kilayim. This Kiftiv Lo Yisizu Chakar M'Chakilayim. Rabbi Yoshe Omer Lo Olam V'Nechai V'Sheizu Chito Yisrael Chatzam on Polisiat. Rabbi Yoshe makes that the laws of Kilayim become almost difficult to apply. Why? Because he says the only time that you're B'Chayev and the laws of Kilayim, what's Kilayim? When you put different seeds together and plant them in a certain 4 tfachim. So he says you have to have in your hand when you plant them wheat, barley, and grape at the same time, and you got to plant them at the same time. So if you plant them separate, you're already potter. So obviously these leniencies the population liked. That's a good thing. And the third thing that was accepted is Kavir V'Sev Divriter, the Tanya V'Yusuf V'Sev Eimer Divriter, Ein Divriter Mekabel Tuma. We also see there was a famous story of Hillel when they had to go and shech the Korban Pesach, and it was Shabbos, Erev Shabbos. It was Shabbos, Erev Pesach, so Sunday was. And he didn't know what to do with the knives. How do we bring the knives? Are you allowed to metaltel the knives on Shabbos? Are they muktzah? All Allah. So they came to Hillel, to his bezdin, and he said, "I don't know the answer." I said, "What do we do?" He said, "Let's watch and see what Bnei Yisrael do." So let's see what they do. They have the answer, Bnei Yisrael. So they watched, and they saw that when it came time to bring the Korban Pesach on Shabbos, all of them took the knives and put it in the wool of the sheep, of the lamb, and that's how they carried it. So he said, Bnei Yisrael are Nevim Bnei Nevim. Bnei Yisrael are prophets, sons of prophets. What does that mean? That if all of Bnei Yisrael accepted a custom, then that's the halacha. It's a collective proof that that's the halacha. Zeiri, when Zeiri came, Zeiri, I guess was an Amora who lived in Eretz Yisrael, and he came to Bavel. And he made a statement. He made a big statement. This is a earth-shattering statement. He says, "Batlua letvilusa." They nullified, they battled the Tvilas Ezra in Eretz Yisrael. And of course, it's the Gemara, so we have to have another opinion. Ramale batlua lentilusa. And there are those who say that what he said is that they nullified the netila. What is the netila? Before you daven, you're supposed to wash your hands. So it would be problematic. People would come, it would be time to daven. Instead of davening, they go look for water. According to the ones that said that they nullified the Tfilas Ezra, it's Karbila Mesera. The one who said that they nullified the Tfilas Yadayim before davening, it's according to the opinion of Chisda that a person it comes time to daven, and instead of davening, he's looking for water. So according to that, yes, you should wash your hands before you daven. However, if you came to the time of davening and you didn't have water, you should daven right away. What?
The first man who looked for water instead of davening?
He would condemn, yeah. He would condemn. Because basically you need a minyan and then you have 3 guys looking for water. Or then you don't daven on time, or maybe then you forget to daven completely. You know, he didn't like the whole concept. He's like, you have to daven right now. Because of the water, you're not davening. It's like you're taking the priority. Right, exactly. You can't, right. So you can't suddenly make the water a priority over the time or the minyan. So now, again, we keep going on this whole concept of Ezra's decree.
Yeah. So Well, this is referring to like washing your hands before diving, or going to the mikvah. What is it referring to? What water are we referring to?
Washing your hands before diving.
I think it might be the other because the person's not tummy, his body is tummy. So if he washes his hand, he's still tummy.
Yeah,
but even so the chiddush here is even that it's still okay to do everything that you have to do, even if you didn't get the mikvah.
yeah, but it's not necessarily referring to a person who's above carry or washing your hands. It could be anybody. So now we just started a brand new branch of this whole concept. What is the Tvila says? The Tvila says that you're supposed to go into the mikvah. Which type of mikvah? A 40 saw. All mikvahs are 40 saw, right? So now the Brisa says a completely new concept. That if a person gets thrown on him, it's very interesting. You can't immerse in Tisha Kavim. It has to be thrown onto you. Then you're tahor. Nachum ish gamzu.
Does it have to be thrown on by your hand, or can it be a shower?
We'll see. There's actually some aspects of that touch on that. So Nachum ish gamzu was an unbelievable Tana. Lachsha Rabbi Akiva. He whispered this teaching to Rabbi Akiva. He didn't say it in the Beis Medrash. He said it personally to him. This is nice. And Rabbi Akiva lachsha Ben Azai. And Rabbi Akiva whispered it to Ben Azai. Now, what's significant about whispering? They say by the Rebbe that there's different minhagim. There's some minhagim that the Rebbe did that were just for him. It wasn't for the world. It wasn't for the island. So when you whisper, it means when you whisper, it means it's not for the entire population. It's just for Yechidei Gula. It's just for specific people. However, Ben Azai was the popular guy. Yatzav V'shnol Tamida V'shuv. Ben Azai, he went to the students in the market and he spread this whole whispering business. So this is a whole new concept because we always know that Tvila is 40 sa'ah, and now we have this 9 kavim of water that's poured on you. Liga Beitra Marava Marava. Yabresi Bar Avin, Rabbesi Bar Zviba. Chatnoi Ishna, Chatnoi Lachsha. So, of course, we got to have a disagreement. And so the disagreement is, did Ben Azai actually whisper it, teach it to the students in the marketplace and make it public? Or he whispered it? If anybody knows the Ben Azai, according to Ben Azai, according to some opinion, he never got married. And he said, Chashka nafshi b'Torah. He was so involved in Torah that he couldn't bear to be disconnected from Torah for 1 second. So he said, oh, if I get married, there's going to be times I won't be able to study Torah, and he couldn't bear it. According to some opinions, Ben Azai married the daughter of Rabbi Akiva, but he divorced her very shortly thereafter. Again, for the reason that he did not want to be disconnected from Torah. Ben Azai was a fire. He was a total fire. So it would make sense that Ben Azai would go and tell it to the market because his love to Torah was nonstop. He never disconnected for 1 second. Man Detaishna, one who said that he taught it to everybody Mishum Bitul Torah because he wanted to avoid Bitul Torah, and he also wanted to avoid Mishum Bitul Period. The one who said Lachsha, the one who said Lachsha is that they shouldn't be so. What's the concept of Tisha Kavim? Because the mikveh is not always available. There were several problems with the mikveh. First of all, a mikveh was not always available. That's one problem. The second problem is a mikveh is cold. When we talk about the winter, a mikveh is cold. Now we have a new concept that for at least for Balkari, we have a thing that you could pour 9 cupping of water. Maybe that's a little easier to swallow than going to a mikveh.
9 cupping is 1.5 saw.
Right. So from 40 saw, yeah.
6 cupping is 1 saw.
Right.
That's like 1.5 instead of 40. It says a kav is a saw is almost 2 gallons, and a kav is only where is it? And there's 9 kavim in the saw, so a kav is 1.2 quarts. So that's like
It's less than an ice bucket challenge.
it's like 1/8. Because it's 1.2 quarts as opposed to.
So a saw is 2 gallons.
Jewish metric system.
A saw is almost 2 gallons.
So a saw and a half is let's say.
Saw and a half is 9 kavim exactly.
No, but I'll say 2.5 if it's 2.9 gallons for 1 saw.
1.9.
1.9. Okay.
So
about 6 gallons, on the high end.
Well, saw and a half is
a
like
lot. 6 gallons.
It's more than the ice bucket.
Saw and a half is less.
I think it's
saw and a
6
half is less than
toilet
3 gallons.
flushes, right?
A saw and a half is less than 3 gallons.
Omar, Shamati, with regards to Takana Ezra, the Ezra's decree, he says, Shamati Shemakilim ba. The Shamati Shemachmirim ba. I heard that some people are lenient, I heard some people are strict. However, the Cholam Machmir Ba'al Atzmai, whoever is strict on himself, Marichin Liyama Rishnaisa. They lengthen his days and his years, which is very nice. Omar Rabbi Shua ben Levi. He says, "Mativim shetoiv l'shcharim." What's the purpose of the people who are Balkari, who go to the mikveh in the morning? The Gemara says, "Mativim." What's the purpose? Aida Amar Balkari. There are those who the Rabbi Shua ben Levi himself says Balkari is also with the Torah, so it's obvious that they go to Toiva so they can study the Torah. So the Gemara changes that.
I don't know where it is.
What do you mean? No, I'm right here.
Did I see
Where?
you read about the Tana Golden?
Yeah, we finished the Tana Golden. We're continuing of Yanai.
When did you say that?
22a. We are right now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
What did
6,
you say
7,
about
8,
Torah?
9,
Person is asking so like a chicken.
10. We're 10 lines from the bottom.
Like a rooster.
We're 10 lines from Chav Beis Amud Aleph, 10 lines from the bottom. So the Gemara says on Rabbi Shua ben Levi, why is he asking a question? What's the purpose of Toivelin if he himself says that you can't study Torah? So he says, this is what he meant. Achikamar, Mativim Barboim. So what's the purpose of going to Barboim? So Ef Shabbatisha Kabin. Mativim Betvila, Ef Shabbatina. Beautiful. So Rabbi Shua ben Levi says, yeah, you have to have this purification, but according to what we just learned, the whispering and the final Ben Azai, who brought it out to the marketplace, you could have the Tisha Kavim thrown. So he says, why do you have to have 40 saw when you could have Tisha Kavim? And why do you have to have Tvila when you could have Netina? And somebody pours it on you. Omar Chanina. Chanina says something also very Gather Golo Godruba. By insisting that the people Toivel in a mikveh not do the Tisha Kavim, they made a boundary. What's the boundary? The Tanya is a person who asked a woman to do an act. Amra Loy, she told him, Reka, empty person.
Good for nothing.
Yesh lecha arbain sasha tatovel b'hem. Do you have 40 sa'ad that you can go to mikveh after you do what you're doing with me? Miyat pirish. Upon hearing this, he left, or he didn't continue with his conquest. So we're saying that this thing helps when people realize that they need to go to the mikveh. It helps them in their mind to think about what they're doing. The fact that you're going to have to go to the mikveh, the fact that you're going to have to do all these things.
It says over here that one of the reasons that they had to nullify the decree of Ezra is because not only were people studying Torah less, but it was also discouraging from having children. The people were saying, "Well, I can't be with my wife because I'm coming."
Very good. Yeah, it says before, period, very evil. Why are you not being careful on this tefillah? If it's because it's cold, is it possible that you can go into the warm bathhouses and take a tefillah over there? Is it possible to take a tefillah in a bathhouse? The water over there is waters that are brought in vessels. They're not water that comes natural. Right. But in these cases, these were bathhouses that didn't have that.
They weren't set up a bathhouse.
Omar Lay, he answered him, Rabbi Barahava Kaika was said. It says truly, Rabbi Barahava says that you can't, that you have to go to a true mikvah, and you cannot go to a bathhouse. This one is a good incident. Reb Zera is sitting in a tub of water in the bathhouse. He's having a schmooze. Amar le Shame, he calls the attendant. Zil ve'aisele tisha kavi, ushad de alvai. Go bring me tisha kavi and pour it onto me, dump it onto me. Amar Reb Ava, I guess, was in the shmooze section. He says to him, "Lamele lemar kulahai. What do you need all this trouble to go and dump the water and the guys to come? Yes, you're already sitting in this amount of water. Amalei Karabaim saw, just like 40 saw, you have to immerse in it. Marbaim saw. So he answered him. He says, no. Marbaim saw v'tvila v'levinetina after shekama v'netina v'levitvila. So Zera says, just like the 40 saw, you have to have a tvila, not netina. But in the case of the 9 sa'ah, it has to be netina, not tvila. So you have to have somebody pour it onto you.
It wasn't a mikvah. It
was a bathhouse.
When you pour it yourself, you cannot pour water on hand.
I don't know the laws of Tisha Kaving. I don't know if it has to be all in one shot. I don't know how that. Obviously, there's halachos on it that you have to.
Well, we need somebody else to pour it.
I don't know. Dr. Stein asked that question earlier. I don't know if you need actually somebody else to pour it, or you need, let's say, in a shower where it's coming out. I don't know, but it has to be poured onto you. So I don't know those halachas.
It says the halacha is the person.
Yes, please go ahead.
One who wants to purify himself from tuma, Perry, by pouring 9 cups of water, has to pour it on his back all at once. This is the opinion of Rabbi Christ.
Mm-hmm.
This is from Beis Yosef.
Rav Nachman Takin Chatzva Batisha Kavin. So Rav Nachman, who was the son-in-law of the Reish Galusa, he created a vessel, a vessel of Tisha Kavin. I guess he would have it in front of the Beis Medrash or something. You know, anybody just did what do they call it? The bucket challenge. So they had the Tisha Kavin challenge coming in. Goser Dimi. when Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael, they said, Rabbi Akiva, Rabbi Yehuda Glustra, Rabbi Yehuda Glustra, that I guess that's his name. Only if somebody who's a sick person and it's involuntary, the Balkari. But if it's somebody who's a Balkari, he does it willfully, it's through an act. So Arba'in Sa'ah. So the 9 kabim doesn't help. Rabbi Yosef says, what does he say after that? After Rav Dimi came from Eretz Yisrael, Idbar Chatzvei Rav Nachman. The vessel of Nachman was broken because all the students were just having relations with their wives, and it wasn't a sick person who had an accident. Therefore, the Tisha Kabim wouldn't apply, and therefore the vessel, quote unquote, was broken. Yasa Ravin, when Ravin came. What's that? No, it broke because they said that the 9 kavi is not enough because most of these people weren't sick and having an accident. They were just having regular relations. Yes, Ravin. There are others who say that there was a different explanation, or the story happened a little different. When Ravin came, he said, "Be'usha Hava Avda happened once." Bekliya the Rav Oishia. Very interesting. It's so nice how the Gemara gets into the details, exact details of how the story happened. So what did it happen? Here it says Bekliya means the anteroom of Rav Oishia's house. What is an anteroom? Like the foyer. So this particular story happens in the anteroom of Rav Oishia. This is how important the details are. You know, sometimes the Rebbe explains that a story of the Rebbein is so important that it's like the words of Torah, and every detail in the story is telling us mounds and mounds of halachas and studying and learning. So obviously we're going to have to somehow figure out what the anteroom was. Also, Vishalu Lervasi. So they came, it doesn't say who came, obviously the students, and they asked Rav Ashi, Amar lahu, what's the case about the Tisha Kabim? Amar lahu, Oshon Echole HaMargil. We only HaMargil La'ointzoi, Aval Echole La'ointzoi, but regarding a person who's involuntary, is Potter Miklum. He doesn't even need the Tisha Kabim. So this is like the extreme opposite. He's saying if it's a person who does it deliberately, then the Tisha Kabim is good. But if it's somebody who is involuntary, so it's exactly the opposite. He doesn't even need the Tisha Kabim. Amar Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi said, it's Tmir Chatzvei Rav Nachman. The broken pieces of Rav Nachman's vessel just glued back together. So this is how the Gemara says. According to one, they broke, and now when this opinion came back, the vessels got glued back again, and they started using it. Michdi, let us see. All these Tanoim and Amoraim are all arguing on the Takana of Ezra. Why don't we just go back to the original source and see what was the actual decree? Omar Abaye, so now we're going to have this deep dive. Omar Abaye, Ezra Tikin Labari Hamargil Arbaim Sa'ah, Ovari La'ansai Tisha Kala. So a regular person who he has regular relations, so he's going to need 40 sa'ah. But if it's somebody who's had it involuntary, it's enough 9 kabim. Also, Moroi and so this is Ezra. Also Moroi, and then the Moroi, Rav Dimi and Ravin, they argued Uflige Bechoyle. Mar Sova Choyle Margil Kabari. One says that a sick person who does it voluntarily is kebari hamargil, v'choy la'onsai kebar la'onsai, and a sick person who's involuntary is like a healthy person who's involuntary, and he needs the tisha kavim. Marsavar, and this is going to be the second one is Ravin. And Marsavar chala magir la'onsai v'chol la'onsai poter miklum. But if you did it totally involuntarily, you don't even need the tisha kavim. So that's what Abaye's opinion is. Amarova nehi the takin as a tvila nesina mitikin. We know that Ezra instituted the decree of having to immerse in the mikveh. But where did he ever institute the pouring of the Tisha Sayim? Where's this coming from? Ezra Tikkun Tvila Balakaria, and we learned in a brayso that it says that what Ezra decreed, or he made a takana, is for Tvila, not the immersing, not the pouring. Ela Amarava, so Rava now says he changes what Abaye says. Ezra Tikkun Tvila Labari Hamargil B'Imsal. Ezra made the takana for someone who a regular person who has a regular relations to go and immerse in the mikveh for himself. And the rabbis made a new decree that if somebody's healthy and it was involuntary, you could pour on him the tisha kavim. And the Amoraim came v'kamiflige b'choyle. Marsa b'choyle margil kevaria margil. So that's going to be Rav Dimi. And the other one, Marsa b'choyle la'ansei kevaria la'ansei. Marsavar la'varia margil b'yisa choyle margil kevaria la'ansei tisha kavim. Choyle la'ansei potem mikmon. So again, he explains the same thing, but he just adds, what's the difference in Abaye and Rava? Rava adds that the Chachamim made a takana for the Tisha Kavim. Amar Rava, Hilchasa, Bari Hamargil, V'choyle Hamargil, Arba'im Sa'ah, Ovar La'ansa Tisha Kavim, V'choyle La'ansa Potem Mikmon. Rava says that this is how the halacha is, that if a person who's a choyle and he's involuntarily, he doesn't even need Tisha Kavim, you don't need anything. Yeah, plenty of time. We learned in the verse Balkerish also Tisha Kavim Mayim Tahar. The Medvarim Aomurim Atzmai. He started for himself. What does that mean? If he himself wants to learn Torah, another detail. Aval Acherim, but if you want to teach Torah to others, Arbaim Sa'al. Arbaim Sa'al V'Kol Makom. That if you want to teach Torah to others, it's not enough to teach a kavi. You have to go ahead and immerse in it. Rabbi Yechanan, Rabbi Shuv and Levi, Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yesi, Rabbi Chanina. Chad Mahaizuga, Chad Mahaizuga Aresha. So he says that these pairs, Rabbi Yechanan and Rabbi Shimon Levi is a pair, and Rabbi Lezer, Rabbi Yosef, Rabbi Chanina are a pair. So one of them went according to the first opinion of the Brisa, and one of them went according to Rabbi Yehuda, which is the second opinion of the Brisa. Chad Amar, Chad Amras, like Tanakama says, So what the Tanakama says that you need, if you want to teach Torah to others, it's talking about someone who's sick and is having a relation, but it's voluntary. The second pair of Amar and Rav Lezer, Reis Chanina says, anytime you want to teach Torah for others, you need 40 sa'ah, regardless if it's voluntary, involuntary, regardless if you're sick, regardless if you're healthy. All the time you want to teach Torah to others, And also the machlekes of the seifa is also going to be two pairs and two pairs. So now they make another deal. When it says it's 40 sa'ah, it has to be 40 sa'ah of water that's sitting in the ground.
Above ground pools.
Yeah, so if it's a above ground pool, according to that, it won't be allowed. And according to one, it says that the Rabbi Yehuda would say that 40 sa'ah for balkari is even enough if they're in vessels above ground. According to the one who says that you could have the 40 sa'ah in vessels above ground pool. Rabbi Yehuda says mikol makom in all cases, 40 sa'ah no matter what.
It's like what, like a jacuzzi?
Yeah, jacuzzi. Yeah, you could have a mikveh above water, a pool above water. You have a big vessel, and you pour the water in there. For sure, the water over there is mayim she'uvim. They're pumped water. Yeah. It's not. It's human water. Elam, that's why a lot of people in yeshivas. I mean, when I was a mocher, they didn't have a mikveh. They went to a pool.
No, the pool, the Shemayim water plus.
Yeah, but it's the original water. The original water was all.
It has to be rainwater originally. The original 40 would count, not the last 40.
Yeah.
The original 40 has to be rainwater.
It was all pool water. It was all regular pump water. Yeah, so the question on the one who says that you can't do the vessels, if Rabbi Yehuda says mikol makom, what does it come? Why did Rabbi Yehuda have to say the word mikol makom? What does it come to teach us? He says that this particular word mikol makom is to teach us that it has to be in the ground, but even in the ground, it could be a pool of water. The way it could be an in-ground pool of water, and it could be water that's pumped in by human, and it's accepted. So that's what the word mikol makom means. Doesn't mean that it could be vessels above the ground. It could mean it has to be in the ground, but it could be pumped. So we're pumped up here. Okay.
Oh,
Papa, I mean, yeah, that's heavy duty, man. I'm sitting next to the master.
It's contagious. Watch out.
The master.
It's contagious.
This is also beautiful. The language is they were breaking bread. You know the term breaking bread? Break bread with a friend, friendship. So they were having a meal together. So there's three people here. Papa, Ravuna, Bereshua, Rabba, Vershmo. Amalor of Papa. Papa says to them, let me do the benching. Why? The naful alvai tishakabim. Because 9 kabim of water recently was poured onto me, and therefore I don't have any doubts if I'm pure. Let me bench. The next guy says, Amalu Rabba Rashmo. Neina, we learned the midvar in la'atzmai. When is 9 kabim okay for yourself? Avalachem ba'im sa'ah. Ella. But if you want to do it for others, you need 40 sa'ah. Ella. Havuli lididi livrach. Let me bench. The nafil avei. Abayim sa'ah. Here it says the nafil. Really, he meant that he dunked. Yeah, because basically he's saying I dunked in the mikveh and 40 sa'ah was on top of me when I dunked in the mikveh. Because otherwise it wouldn't make any sense. There's no such thing as pouring 40 sa'ah on your head. There's no way. Amalo Ravuna says, don't get too excited. Let me bench, because I didn't have any amount of water poured on me, because he was tired from the first place. There was no need for me to go there, and not to have any doubts and not to have any questions. Let me bench. Yeah. Rav Chama used to go Erev Pesach in the mikveh because he was going to be fulfilling the obligation of the public. And some people say, what was he doing that was fulfilling the obligation of the people of the public? And I guess he says here on the bottom that he was reading the Hallel for them. Maybe he was the Chazan, and he was saying the bracha. He was saying the bracha of Hallel. And in order to be Yaitse the bracha for all the Mispalalim, he wanted to make sure that he was 40 dunked. However, the halacha is not like that you need such an immersion before it. Very good. Still good. Ayom Tefillah v'niska shul carry the Mishnah. Ayom Tefillah v'niska shul carry. Somebody is standing in davening, and Tefillah normally is talking about Shmoneh Esrei. V'niska shul carry. He suddenly realizes that he's a lo yafsik lo yikatzer. He should not stop davening, but he should shorten the blessing. We're going to see what that means. Yar Litva, if somebody went to the mikveh right before the time of Shema, if he could to get up and cover himself before the Netzachama, he should get up, cover himself, and read. And if not, he should cover himself with the water, and he should read. Obviously, he should cover himself, I guess, to his neck or cover his heart, and he could read. Right. But it can't be with bad water. Maybe they have a smell. And not water that flax was soaked into it. I guess it was kind of somewhat disgusting. Until he adds more water, so it purifies it and either doesn't smell or it doesn't look nasty. And if you have such waters, or if you have tzoya excrement, how far? It says you have to move away 4 amos. He should not stop. He just shorten his brachos. He should not just stop learning Torah. He should slur his words as he reads, and slowly stop reading. Meir says the maximum you could read in such a fashion or any fashion when you're Balkari is 3 psukim. And what's the significance of 3 psukim? Because 3 psukim is considered a parsha. Why can't you stop? Here's the question: why can't you stop learning Torah right away? Because it's disrespectful to Torah. You can't disrespect Torah by leaving it. You can't be in the middle of reading a pasuk and stop and just walk away. Because you're just, So by mincha, the minimum of pasukim is 3 pasukim. Exactly. And that's exactly, you're saying exactly the point of what Rameir is saying, is that when you study Torah, a minimum of a chapter, a minimum of respect is the 3 psukim. So even if you're a Balkari, finish those 3 psukim to show respect to the Torah, that you don't just run away from it and go away from it. The Torah is even higher than anything else.
That's why sometimes we're forced to repeat the pasuk when we have 8 pasukim.
Right, and Rosh Chodesh, exactly.
It says here after he finishes the pasukim, somebody else has to.
Not just a pretty face, not just a pretty
face. He should go until it's 4 amas behind him. But the Gemara says, asks the question about Tanya Letzadim, it should be 4 amas Letzadim. Why do we say Lachara? It says Lo Kasha, Hada Efshar, Hada Lo Efshar. If it's possible that he can go forward, that's fine. And if not, he could go to the side. It depends on what he can do. This is how terrible it is. The daven, chas v'shalom, when you have Torah, even though Amar Rabba, even though it's a sin, it's a disgrace and disrespectful to Hashem, it's still considered tefillah. Maskir Rava, so there's Rabba and Rava. Rava asked a question. It says that the sacrifice of Rishayim is Toyeva, means to discuss. So here he translates abomination. Since he sinned and he continued to daven, his davening is of abomination. Basically, it's not accepted. So according to Rava, there's no way to daven in a disgusting place, in front of a disgusting thing. Somebody's in the middle of davening, and suddenly he has to urinate. It's flowing. He has to stop. Tefillah is, we're talking about Shemona Esrei. He has to stop, and then he could finish his davening. Very, very strong. So now we're going to have a question. Where does he return when he stops and he returns? There's a machlokes of Rav Chisda Ramuna. According to one, he has to start from the beginning, and according to one, he stops. He returns to where he stopped. So what does that mean? That according to one, the entire davening is gone. He's got it's a hard reset, and according to others, it's just a reset from where he stopped. Maybe this is what they're arguing. So now we're gonna go down one level. We're gonna say, what does it mean that he had to stop? How long did he stop? If he stopped long enough, so it's a hefsek, it's a separation, that he could have finished the entire davening, so then he goes to the beginning. And according to one, even though you stopped such a long time, let's say for him to finish davening it would have taken another 2 minutes. And if he stopped for 2 minutes, according to one, you go to the beginning. According to one, you go to where you stopped. Amar Ravashi, Hai im shaha, im lo shaha mi barle. If it says if shah, if he was the Gemara says the Brisa says so it says what do you mean imsha if he did? If he did not stop, why is it saying that he did stop? And that's when they have an argument. The argument is really when he didn't stop. So it must be that if somebody stopped to finish the entire davening, so let's say he has 2 more minutes to daven, and it would have taken him 2 minutes to daven. No one argues that if he stopped for a full 2 minutes, you go to the beginning, because that's considered a hefsek, and you got to start chayzalorish. And the argument is when he didn't stop for the full 2 minutes. According to one, he says that the davening wasn't fit because he was in such a situation where he was going to go ahead and urinate unnaturally, so he wasn't fit to daven. One according says no, we don't look at what happened later. We look at what he did at the time. At the time, he was okay. These opinions have so many ramifications for our everyday life. Because how many of us daven, we have different thoughts in our davening? How many of us are not in the position where our entire davening from beginning to end is there? So I mean, I would like to go with the second opinion, where Gavra Chazu Tfilah, that still in all, even though your thoughts weren't 100% pure, but the moments they were pure, those are the thoughts that really count. And hopefully we could just build on that and continue further. Somebody has to go to the bathroom. This is very practical. You should not daven. If somebody is davening while he's holding in and he has to go to the bathroom, it says that his davening is a abomination. It's a teiva. It's a disgust. So it says, okay, yeah, for sure, if you have to go to the bathroom and you can't hold yourself in, that it's disgusting. But if it's just you have to go to the bathroom just the beginning, it's not to the point where you can't control yourself, then that's okay. That's not a problem. That kama. So what is it? What? Yeah. So ad kama. So what does it mean that he could hold himself in? Amar says ad parsa. How long does it take for that person to walk a parsa? How much is a parsa? You want to give us the measurements? He says here 2.4 or 2.9 miles. The amount of time it takes to walk one parsa is 72 minutes. So I guess this is a very young, healthy person. We have other. So he could hold to the bathroom, but in reality, most people could hold 72 minutes from the first time that they feel they have to go to the bathroom.
In a restaurant.
Yeah, a restaurant or you could do about 72 minutes. But if you realize you have to go to the bathroom, and in reality, it's not in the first minute of the 72, you're already probably 40, 50 minutes into the 72. So now you're getting into a very, bottom line is, the Gemara this is very clear. The Shulchan Aruch says, go to the bathroom, try to go to the bathroom before you start davening. Just full stop.
Wait, is this saying 72 minutes is the time for one parsa, and that's how much time we're talking about?
That's if you realize that from the first second that you realize, like in the true original first second, that you have to go to the bathroom, according to this opinion, you have 72 minutes to daven. The problem is that most of us don't realize the first exact second when we have to go to the bathroom. We start to realize when we're 30 minutes into the 72 minutes or 50 minutes into the 72 minutes. So now you're getting into complications. Where am I in the 72 minutes? Is it okay? Is it not okay? Besides, we're not talking halacha. I'm not saying that this is the law or anything. Okay. There's some who say
Is it the same 72 minutes that if a person washed and stopped eating?
right, it's called a hefsek. If a person cannot stand, then he hold himself in. But that's parsa. So we have here again the same proof from a Mishnah in the Brisa that this is how it works. If you could hold yourself in or not. If a person needs to go to the bathroom, you should not daven because it says he kon likrata l'kef Israel, prepare to meet Hashem your God. Watch yourself, watch your feet, where you go to the house of Hashem. Watch yourself that you shouldn't sin, and if you sin, bring a korban. So now the Gemara says,
watch your orifices.
Right. So he's going to explain the Vekarav Lishmaya, and listen. What is it to listen? Amarava Vekarav Lishmaya Divrei Chachamim. Be close to listen to what the Chachamim teach us. Shim Chaytim, that if they sin, Vivin Korban, Vaisin Tshuva. They bring a korban and they do tshuva. And for us today, a korban is davening. So we daven, we do tshuva. Mitei saksilim zovach, from the fools that bring a sacrifice. Ati kiksim shachaytim v'in korban. Then I do tshuva. What are the fools? The fools, they sin. They bring a korban, but they don't do tshuva. They don't repent. So it's a total waste of time. So this is a tongue twister. Because they don't know how to do bad. What does that mean? What does it mean they don't know how to do bad? You have to know how to do bad. If you do bad, you bring a korban, you do tshuva. So the Gemara says no. They don't know if they're bringing that they did something bad, or they're bringing something that they're bringing a shlamim. Why? Because they're so gaivadik that they don't separate between giving thanks to Hashem and realizing that they sin. Amar Kadosh Baruch Hu, they don't know the difference between when it's something to give thanks and when it's something that they sin. They bring korbanos all the time to make themselves feel good. You know, they're bringing korbanos. They're bringing. And they don't know what they're bringing for. But really, when you bring a korban, it should either be giving thanks to Hashem or for something that you need to do tshuva. You should guard your bathrooms. You go into the bathroom when you stand in front of them. You want to stop here? Okay, we'll stop here.
Shakaya, thank you.
I just want everyone to know.
Thank you very much.
Last night, he said yes. We had it off job.
If you are sitting in an exit seat, please review the safety.